Live? When do they say action?
Good evening, and welcome back to the Building the New World Conference. Tonight, we're going to be exploring Sector 3, Art and Culture, with two artist icons who are globally known. Alex Grey is considered the leading psychedelic artist of the day. He's a true visionary, and in addition to being a fine painter, he's also an author, teacher, and Vajrayana practitioner. He works in a variety of mediums, including performance and process art, installation art, sculpture, and fine art that is often described as psychedelic realism. He's also a member of Integral Institute. He's on the board of supervisors for the Center for Cognitive Liberty and Ethics, and he serves as chair of Wisdom's University Sacred Art Department. Allyson Grey is a conceptual abstract artist and a renowned painter in her own right. She calls her art a personal and shared meditation on the structure of thought, life, and the process of enlightenment. Like Alex, she is considered a mentor and an influencer of the contemporary visionary art movement. In addition, she's an author and journalist. She edits the couple's publications, including the upcoming Cosm Journal of Visionary Culture. Together, this couple is a dynamo. They founded the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, which is a 501c3 charity and a trans-denominational church. On the Cosm campus in New York, they've built Entheon, a contemporary chapel that also serves as a sanctuary for spiritual renewal through contemplation of transformative art. This sacred center, which is nearly completed, constitutes an architectural and artistic alliance between divinity and creativity. Welcome, Alyson and Alex. We are so happy to have you here this evening.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Wasn't that special?
That was
unexpected.
I'm touched, Laura. We are so honored to be part of this program, this amazing program that you've put together. And we've always been inspired by your books and by your project there, Peace Pentagon. So thank you so much for inviting us.
Yes, and we're here to talk about cosmic creativity. And we're so glad to be with you. We're going to just show you our presentation about cosmic creativity. What's going to happen is Alex is going to do the basic part of the cosmic creativity talk. I noticed that the first several pages, if you Google cosmic creativity, the first few pages are all Alex Grey. So I think it was, initiated, although there's a few books that have come out on the subject in recent times. But anyway, Alex is going to dominate the first portion by describing cosmic creativity as he sees it through his work. And then I have a few, just to share with people who may not be familiar with my work, where it's come from and how is it cosmically creative, I guess. And then we're going to tell you a little bit more about Cosm and Entheon, and I'll probably do a lot of the describing there. So take it away, Alex.
Okay. Well, Alyson reminds me, this is a portrait of us in earlier days, I think done in 84 or something like that. And it was called New Man, New Woman. I think I'm due for an update, maybe Old Man, Old Woman. Yeah. And the other behind there is Alyson's sacred geometric work that we'll get to a bit later. But we both feel that we share the same subject, which is a transcendental or spiritual light. Now, what's obvious to probably most of us at this program is that consciousness is primary, and that we're here to examine ways that we can transform our consciousness to become more conscious and to develop our conscience as an aspect of that. So I've done a variety of paintings that have pointed to these very simple kinds of and straightforward kinds of ideas. Consciousness is a cosmic force. And really, thought is what activates everything. And our consciousness is really the primary medium of every artist, but of every person. And consciousness itself is inherently creative. Just like, because time is going by and every new moment is a novel thing. And so it draws on everything in the past, but it will surprise us at every moment. And so the aspect of ourselves, I think, that's really being activated in the creative process is this memory that God, or whatever, the source of everything, the source of creation, is the divine artist. And the cosmos is the evolving masterwork of creation. And so Deepak said it really beautifully when he said that we're evolving toward unity consciousness, where we experience ourselves as cosmic beings participating in the evolution of the universe. The human body is part of the cosmic body. The human mind is part of the cosmic mind. Awakening to this cosmic dimension of ourselves is profoundly restorative. And with that understanding, we bring healing to our wounded planet and a new sense of adventure to the human journey. So that's what we're about here, is activating that state of consciousness, that sense of oneness with this process. And every time we start a new work of art or think a new thought, a big bang of creation is literally happening across our brains. 14.5 billion years ago, supposedly there was nothing. And then with the divine conception, let there be light, although it may have taken 500 million years for the plasma to get to the point of creating photons that could come and be seen as light. But, we're at this end of that process. And so really, what else could we be but this massive explosion of energy, creative energy, that's gone out so far into space. Now we've mapped the viewable galaxies, and what this photographic display that's been pieced together from all the known and visible clusters of galaxies. Each point of light is a cluster of galaxies. Now, of course, the Milky Way is part of a cluster of galaxies. But what the scientists and astrophysicists tell us now is that as far as the eye can see, that's only the visible limits. They know that it goes on at least 10 times more, than that. So the nature of the universe is one of the ultimate mysteries. But we are a product of creation. And so that life and light that is alive in the galaxies and in the sun and in the stars is really, that's the only thing that could be alive in us. We're made of stardust, as Carl Sagan liked to say. And so here on this amazing, unbelievable planet, I think all the UFOs are around because they love this planet like we should love this planet. This is a precious opportunity of incarnation on Earth. And, we can see that this web of interconnectedness, this web of intelligence that has woven together all the galactic clusters is very similar to our neuronal kind of tangle that's inside of each of our brains. It's only with these billions and billions of interconnections that we can piece together this picture of reality that we're fabricating with our imagination right now and projecting as though it's happening in front of us. Well, it's just like the mycelium underground, that hold the soil together. And we can see that we are extensions, no matter where we are, of this cosmic creative process. And Alyson wanted me to show you the details here. But you can evolve backwards and take yourself back to that moment, that blank canvas that God had, and let there be light, and embody all of those chains of being until you come to yourself and you see that God creates everything with love, and that you can create with love. And when you do, it aligns you with the cosmic creative force, this spiritual source that comes through all the beings, whether they're with us here on earth or having departed. You know, this aspect of cosmic creativity can give us a perspective that can help us embrace the art history and see how it's embodying a evolutionary creative impulse. This painting, the artist's hand, kind of tries to take the history of art as part of that wake left by this great creative process that weaves through us. And we've started to regard, you know, art as a sacred path or a spiritual path because it allows us to materialize our theophanies. It becomes an artifact of an inner world revelation. And in that way, it's kind of like, hey, this is proof. I went there, you know. Darwin did not have photography. And the earliest scientists that saw the spiral galaxies did not have photography. They had drawing. And so the earliest scientific drawings were what gave us our first impressions of these very important discoveries of evolution and of spiral galaxies. So, currently we cannot put a camera inside of our imagination. So art and artists come the closest to being able to crystallize this inner world of the imagination that's always come through sacred art. Whether it's, visual art or music. Like Beethoven said, there's no loftier mission than to approach the Godhead nearer than others and to disseminate the divine rays among humanity. So beautiful. So this making art, it aligns you with this cosmic creative force. And you can see that you're all an artist and an author of the story, the narrative of your own life. And every thought that we have is inherently creative. So getting in touch with your inner artist, you don't need to actually make a drawing or do anything like that. Each thought is creative. So this is gives you the opportunity to imagine it in the best way possible, really. And it's, of course, if you do write and make pictures and things like this, you can leave things now for a legacy, for our families. And so these are just some of the pictures that I made about some of my friends who are artists and, the musicians that help liberate us. This is music of liberation. And so, we're putting on this idea that creativity could be a way to look at spirituality that doesn't have some of the inherent problems of dogmatic religion that sort of knows the truth. Because I think that a lot of artists, they can't stand dogma. It has to be creative. It has to be fresh. So you see, not only is the creative spirit in all of us, but all of the religions have expressed themselves through the creative process. Otherwise, we wouldn't have, religious literature. That's a work of art. We wouldn't have the temples. Those are works of art. We wouldn't have the icons. We wouldn't have the sculpture. You know what I mean? And frequently the music and the art and everything like that of a culture is some of the best stuff in it. So what if creativity itself was the religion, and each religion was kind of an expression of this cosmic creative force, that runs through everyone. It just comes out in different and beautiful ways that you can appreciate. In that way, religion is like evolving waves. through humanity and through different cultures, and that each one can be appreciated, for its beauty. And so, since I think contact with divine reality is the source of art, the artist is probably working with a hierarchy of spiritual beings, and art then comes to stand for that transcendental source. Here, the artist is having a vision in their heart, and then they're trying to think about, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to make something with that? They have to discover their medium, and so the medium is a gift. And so when we externalize that internal theophany, that's art. So thank you.
Oh, well, that's your talk on cosmic creativity. I really appreciate that. That is so beautiful. I think it's very original too. I try to, well, in describing our work together, I would say that we are both social sculptors, and we met in art school and started making collaborative performances together. Alex was a performance artist, and I was more as a sculptor, installation artist. So we kind of put that together and made some pieces together as well as separately. And but before I met Alex, I had an experience where I read the Ram Dass book, Be Here Now, and was inspired to go into a room, dark room, and take LSD and have, a God contact experience, like Ram Dass saw the white light. So I went into it with the intention of seeing the white light, and did see the white light, and I saw it through, through secret writing, which I started to, when I met Alex, we would start to have these experiences together, and we had our God contact together. And that was June 3rd, 1976, a year after we started living together, almost to the day. And so, that changed our work. It gave us focus to our work. We decided that was the most important thing to make art about. So we continued to have those experiences. My first, attempts at trying to portray the fountains and drains of energy that we both experienced, this sort of flow state that Alex portrays as the universal mind lattice, and a lot of people have resonated with that. And I went into this period of making art about pointing to centers, but soon thereafter, I started to reproduce the experience that I'd had at my first God contact when I, went into my dark room by myself in Cambridge, and I had this white light experience. And it was that I saw secret writing in that experience, and I had already been making art about it, and Alex saw it in my work, and he said, no, I had not been exposing this to my art school review board. I said we met in art school, and we were both always artists since we were very, very young, and accomplishing throughout those years. But I never exposed secret writing. LSD was too much of a hot button, and I wouldn't discuss it. So no one did. It was very, very private. So when I met Alex, and he had also had God contact through LSD, his first LSD experience, and that's what brought us together. And the second date I think we had, you saw every bit of work that I had ever done, and you said, no, secret writing, this is really important. Do you recognize this? And this was done in 1976. I was working on my master's thesis at in art school, I just noticed the sacredness of these windows. How the arched window is it's like the Torah, a little bit separated. And I come from the Jewish tradition, so it has that appearance of sacredness. And the work, I wanted to break the work into chaos. Chaos, Order, and Secret Writing was a trilogy that I heard in a psychedelic experience, telling me that everything in the universe was made up of chaos, which was all things are in entropy, order, the bliss realm, where we went in the universal mind lattice experience, and secret writing, which is the language of creative expression. It's where our thoughts become things. You know, we have a thought about this work of art that we have to do, and then we manifest it in our own pure way, you know, that's the most original that we can. So this was like the parting. It was like, you know, everything was an entropy, and there was the divine, and my work was watercolors at the time. I've been told that this work reminded somebody, without even knowing anything, they said it reminded them of the ketamine experience. And we were experimenting, but in a sacred way, with those experiences together during the period of time that I did this. It's like a feeling of Alka-Seltzer in water. You everything dissolves and just floats out, you know, into the universe, into a textural universe. So I think that my work has been very inspired by my altered states of consciousness. Oh, what's this? Well, this is really my universal mind lattice portrayal. I call it I call this order, basically. This is the one node of order. This is a single, it's like universal mind lattice from the top. If you look down in full spectrum. And then this was called Jewel Net of Indra. Indra, the god of space and time. In the abode of Indra, there's a net that stretches infinitely in all directions. And every facet of the net, there is a jewel that's so highly polished that it interreflects all the other jewels of the net. And that's a Hindu tale about the Jewel Net of Indra that I use as the title of this work because of that sense of interconnectedness and interreflectivity that I felt in that experience, and that probably Hindus felt it way before me. So then I was working on some ways to make, you know, the fountains and drains, the suck holes and blowholes of this vast vista, a universe that we experience in LSD. In a couple of different ways. So these were some of my attempts. And I was working in ink wash. So these are grayscales from black to white. I tend to choose a practice in my work, like grayscales or like spectrums. And these are spectrums in 19 steps. I tend to love practices. I practice piano, I practice yoga. I find it to be meditative. And so my art is my meditation as well. This is called, what is it called? It's called complementary planned randomness. Now, planned randomness is when you can do anywhere you want, you know, and you can place things in any order. There's no particular order, but complementary means that the letters that are inside are complementary to the letters that are around them. Complementary colors are colors that are across each other in the color wheel. If you have a big color wheel, they're right directly across from each other. So these are all complementary colors, the letters inside the squares, planned randomness. And this is chaos. This is all chaos, order, and secret writing. I call this piece, chaos being on the right-hand side, but it's basically the entropy of the material world and all the systems breaking down, the bliss realm of order, and all things are made of light and interconnected, and secret writing, the way we communicate our inner world through manifestation, through art, music, dance, writing, speaking. All of those are symbols. We are master symbol makers as humans. And so this is chaos, order, secret writing. And then, well, we mentioned the thing about being, actually Linda mentioned that we were social sculptors. And social sculpture is art that intends to change social systems. The intention of the art is to transform social systems, social structures. So I think that in our performance work that we did collaboratively, and we started to get more communities together and more people to help us do things and to make a special event happen. And COSM, I think, is an outgrowth of that in that way. And COSM is really a place where, well, the mission of COSM, Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, is to build an enduring sanctuary of visionary art to uplift a global community. And in that intention, which we had simultaneously together in an experience in 1985, we came together with that intention to build an enduring sanctuary of visionary art to uplift a global community. And this is where we began, really. You can certainly drop in anytime, Alex. I invite you. But these are the people that were at our first full moon ceremony. We started full moon ceremonies in our home January of 2003. And we have never missed one. We're into our 18th year now. I'm very proud of us, but it's been basically the structure and the skeleton of our building, the Cosm Chapel of Sacred Mirrors. And why did we invite them there?
Well, the shaman who's pictured in this image here, whose name is Alex Stark, and he led the first full moon ceremonies, and he was the one who suggested we should begin them. We were artists who had the vision of this temple. We didn't really know how to, create community around this project and stuff. So we were, we had been trying to imagine it for a while. And our friend Alex, suggested the full moon ceremony. And he, along with the group of us, created a magical kind of despacho, basically something that was a spiritual communication device to spiritual forces that he made sure that that we tried everything that we could to see if there was something there that the spirits might want to work with.
I just was going to answer my own question, which is, why did we start the full moon ceremonies? Alex Stark did start us in that, and why he started us in that was to share and to bring together and to cultivate a community that might be interested in working with us in building an enduring sanctuary of visionary art. And how would we do that? We would bring people together on the full moon, because the full moon is in every corner of the earth. And so we would bring people together with that thought in mind, that perhaps we would identify and train people and find the right people to help us to build this sanctuary of visionary art, which we had no idea how we were going to do it.
No, and you know what? Will that work? Anyway, it worked, and now we're here.
Yeah. So there we are now. Within, I would say, a year, I think it was in with like 4 months, we got invited to take over a raw space, which turned into this beautiful place. We built this in a raw, 12,000 square foot loft. It had a dance studio and 2 galleries. Well, it had this whole gallery, which was the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors gallery. And then there was another gallery to show the art of the visionary art tribe. And it was a rotating show. This was more of a permanent installation for 5 years. And we had a dance studio and a store. It was the first time we ever had a store. I mean, that was a real store. We had an online store. But then this is what we did. Full moons were full. We had the dance studio. We would have it all decorated, and it was like DJs. It was a fabulous time. It was 5 years.
It was in
Manhattan.
It was in the club district of Manhattan as well, and so they didn't care how late we went
or how loud we were,
or how loud. And
we had drumming there on like new moons, and then we had dance parties, like DJ dance parties on the entheocentric salons. That's what we called them. This is the chapel room itself where the sacred mirrors live. I don't know, there may be people out there who aren't familiar with the sacred mirrors. The sacred mirrors are a series of 21 artworks. 19 of them are paintings and 2 of them are etched mirrors. And they have these incredibly sculpted frames which pictorially describe the cartoon history of the universe, with the biological and technological evolution and a lot of symbolism, and we carved and cast those together as a context for the sacred mirrors, which were painted and designed by Alex. So he went for 10 years designing these sacred mirrors as a concept that came out of a performance that we did together, called Life Energy. And we did that performance. And then for like the next 10 years, Alex worked on the paintings. And then we immediately in 1985, when we knew we were going to do a temple, we made the frames. Let's keep going.
Oh, some of my artwork has been adapted this was the planetarium, the Rose Planetarium in New York. Museum of Natural History.
Yeah. And all over the world, we traveled all over the world, painting on stages with DJs and lots of festivals and indoor events, arenas, Red Rocks, all that. It was a fabulous way to see the world. We were from Tel Aviv to Moscow to Argentina and everywhere.
Yeah.
Australia. We got to go everywhere. And there we are in Red Rocks.
Red Rocks, I think.
Yeah.
And
in Colorado.
Yeah.
This was at Radio City Music Hall.
Yeah. Tool, the rock group Tool has I've worked with them since 2001, and they've used my work on tour multiple times. And so they've been a great tool for helping us to build the
tool for building a temple. I'm telling you.
They're amazing, and they're great friends. Oh,
Alex
why you put this
I did. Look at this. Look at these people. I mean, I'm impressed. Alex has been on the top 100 spiritual power list for at least 10 years, and with the likes of people that I feel are such great names. This was when we began to think that we should have an outdoor activity. Like, we were in the city doing these many events, constant events of spiritual and creative nature. But every summer we would go to the land, and we would sort of rent a place where we could, have a fire. And Brian James, who's been our builder now for 12 years, created these programs where he used Alex's and my performances, and he created these fire sculptures. And I thought I should. This is the old house. It's got a brand new roof on it now. I'm embarrassed to show it to you like this because recently it's much more beautiful. But we've put a lot into making this house the home of our community, basically as a guest house and a performance space, because we didn't have Entheon yet. This is night lit up for parties. This is the inside of the library. Believe me, it didn't look like this when we first walked into it. We've put everything into it for 10 years. It took us about 4 years to really restore this. It has really 4 floors. So, with the basement. And here we are having our full moon ceremonies in here. You can see how crowded we are. So we knew we had to grow, and our full moons are wonderful performative events that we have in the library. We have a lot of outdoor space. We're on 40 acres. And so we have this beautiful meadow where people can have weddings. They're having a wedding. Aren't they beautiful? And we offer, Alex and I do officiate weddings occasionally. And we are the host of the an East Coast Permaculture Center. Delvin Salkinson and Grace. Delvin started it. He's a doctor, Dr. Dell, of permaculture, and this is his field. He's an educator, and so we have lots of educational opportunities to learn and be certified in permaculture here. Find out more about that. The Cosm Journal of Visionary Culture has been coming out since 2003, I think, and we're on our 11th. We don't come out with one maybe every year and a half, and the volume that is coming out now is themed Entheon. Entheon is the sanctuary of visionary art that we're building here at Cosm. This is one of our outdoor fire circles with laser light. We have big events here when we're open, when it's safe. After COVID is all gone and we don't have to worry about it, we'll be back. And Entheon is it means a place to discover God within. Say something about Entheon.
Well, it's the first iteration of the temple that we wish to build. The one that I think we were inspired to build was a round structure. This is a square, cubic structure, basically.
This is a transformation from a carriage house.
Yeah.
into a 12,000 square foot 3-story exhibition hall. That's what it really is.
We're recycling a building inside of another building. And so this is the imagined front. We don't have this right now. We tried to make a very realistic computer graphic that shows what we'd like to do. And we do have a little bit of the sculptures, like we have the steeple head now. And
the doors are coming. We'll show
the
that.
doors are coming, yeah.
So here's the doors.
Now, you can see that the idea is the many faces of God basically all linked together. And there's an evolutionary scheme as well, where we're asking this question, do we want to continue the game of evolution? And if so, we have to treat the world like the sacred place it is. And here we see the Adam and Eve have kind of returned to the garden, basically, and they're harvesting the tree of wisdom, and they're basically being creative, trying to create a better world.
And they're bronze, and they each weigh 800 pounds, and they have to open and close with 5 pounds of pressure for ADA compliance. And they're coming. Look, here they are. Yeah. They're not. These are not patinaed yet. They're not polished. But we did have them made, and they're
on their way.
They're getting tooled. They're getting ready to move in. And this is the another view. This is installed. This is the vestibule as you walk in the front doors, and it was designed by Alex, and it's made in marble and granite. It's been installed. This is the all-one gallery, the gallery of the Visionary Art Tribe, and there's David Bronner in the background giving the thumbs up because it's called the all-one gallery. Because of all, one, or none. The Dr. Bronner soap has been incredibly supportive and made a donation sizable to be named, have his gallery named after it. And we're so grateful to the Bronner family for their help with Entheon. You're looking at the same all one gallery. From the other side, there's a balcony, and to your left, you see the registration table, and you see the Entheon shop. So you're coming in the door, that's it. Now, but also down there in the first floor, you have the reliquary room.
The psychedelic reliquary, we thought would be appropriate because many of the paintings that I've done of the psychedelic heroes have been signed by them. So this one is Albert Hoffman, who discovered LSD. Now, his family and we struck up a relationship after Dr. Hoffman passed on in 2008. And they donated to us a sacred relic of his glasses. So they will be on display. And we also have a hair of Herr Hoffman.
We have his hat too.
And a hat.
Which is very distinctive.
They gave us a fedora. So all of these things and a bust of Hoffman and things will be there on display, as well as the Dr. Sasha Shulgin and Anne Shulgin are kind of the godfather and godmother of MDMA, which has been used in the breakthrough kind of therapy for PTSD and depression, and a number of folks that are having benefit from psychedelic psychotherapy.
Right.
And
so Alex has done beautiful paintings of these psychedelic heroes, and this will be in the psychedelic reliquary.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have all of them here.
Yeah.
This is a recent piece that will be in the show. I think it's called Realms of the Unpronounceable. My letters are unpronounceable and unnamed. They are without meaning. They're intentionally meaningless. But anyway, this is a very complex puzzle. It'll be on this wall. This is the room of this Chaos Ordered Secret Writing Zone. And there's the floor is coming in. It's not finished yet. It isn't urethane there, but they're working on it this week. So the floor is profound. It's a collaboration that I've
inlaid. Is it mahogany and
oak?
And oak.
I mean, I can't believe that I actually envisioned this into being. It was just amazing to be able to find people to help me make this happen. I'm so excited about it. And there are the doors. Now the doors originally, they are carved on both sides. And one day we'll have a display where they can be seen on both sides. But right here you see the opposite side from the doors that we've used. They're on display, and they were carved in teak. And then they were, the mold was made and cast in bronze. So the bronze doors will be on the front. The teak doors will be on display. Look at this. We actually have installed 2 galleries. This is just happening. We're exposing this to you now. This is a picture, just a snap of the Great Hall. The Great Hall has a stage, as you can see, and this is where we're going to be holding our largest events, our full moon and new moon art church events and equinox solstice introductory events. And we'll have speakers and programs here, symposiums. We needed a room where we could put a couple hundred people together, because we just need that. And this is the Sacred Mirrors. You get to see this chapel of Sacred Mirrors, at least in this view. It has a gorgeous parquet floor that is a labyrinth, a Zimzum labyrinth. You can meditate, a walking meditation from angel to angel.
And
secret writing again.
That will be on the outside of the building, and the different godheads linked together. And there's the angels of the 4 directions.
And the angels of the 4 directions, there's 4 of them. They have not been sponsored yet. I just like people to know that. If you want to be part of this project, you should know that the steeplehead was sponsored. The doors were sponsored. I think we have a picture of there's the steeplehead. 3 donors came together to sponsor our 9-foot steeplehead, which came to us, and there it is. Coming in, the steeplehead, it came in through Burning Man. We showed it at Burning Man first, got a little playa dust on it, and then we put it up.
Yep.
And it's so amazing. It's just an exquisite thing. We visioned it into being.
You can get inside of it, and actually, it's the only windows in the entire building.
It's the only outward penetration.
You look through the third eye of the Godhead.
Yeah.
There's
the back. Now this is the center campus side, where we have this great big patio that we have big plans for, big plans. And here it is with its gates on it. We had these gates also made. Alex designed them when we took them to an ironworker, and they made these for us. And it has to have, we're still working on NPI. We haven't opened. This is where we are. We like to share the journey with you. Now, the bricks will go on that patio, and you can be a brick, legacy holder. Your brick can say whatever you want it can say. Like here it says surrender to love. That was a voice Alex heard once in a very special epiphany, and other things, or a memorial of your loved ones or your pets, people and things and words that mean something to you. And it's very reasonable, very economical way to be part of this program and part of this project of building a temple with us, and be part of the larger international community that has been building this temple with us. And then when you show up here one day, you'll find your brick here, and it'll be so awesome. So be part of the brick campaign. I also thought I'd tell you there's a tree legacy campaign, which also gets a plaque. And if you came here and you had a tree planted, but look for that on our website at cosm.org, the tree planting, the brick campaign. This is what the back is going to look like. The center campus side has these 2 9-foot soul birds that were funded, and they are made as well. There they are. They are 9-foot soul birds. They're going to have pedestals, and the secret writing will be in the pedestals. This is a sculpture that was also funded. This is the sculpture of Alex and I kissing. It's in bronze. We haven't even seen it yet. Well, if you want to interact in a greater way, of course we invite you to go to the donate button and find out more about how to support. But the Entheurn is something that we needed as we got mature and our parents passed away. And it is, we jokingly and lovingly say it's for your ashes or your stashes, which means that you can buy it now for your stashes and later for your ashes. But we lovingly created, Alex designed this beautiful bronze urn, which is available to you. We are a church, so what we do is we create
liturgical items.
We do. We prayer items, prayer books, and altar objects, and beautiful art that is inspiring and uplifting. That's what we do. And the Grail is lined with silver. We're hoping to have this made some more. We have, I think, 50 Grail holders now, and we would like to figure out a way to keep the Grail project going, because it's a belonging in a deeper way to have a Grail on your altar. Okay, so here's the trees. We plant trees. This was the tree campaign. I think
there's 40 acres.
40 acres, and we need trees. Every year we plant trees. We plant sometimes twice a year. This is the round chapel that we intend to build. I think we're going to probably get it printed out on our site. We were seeing how they're printing out buildings. This is for us. This is totally for us. But it's not for another, number of years, and we intend to live long and prosper. So we're going to keep that in our heart, that this is the chapel we intend to build. Come build with us. That's what we invite you to really ultimately do, is be part of the community that builds a legacy sacred site. That you can say to your children, your grandchildren, I helped build a sacred site. We felt that there was no greater thing that two artists that are spiritually inspired, with contact with the divine, could possibly do to use their art in the most, to use our art in the most, loving way, altruistic way we could. So leave something.
Right. It's all, this is all a church, so it doesn't belong to us. We're volunteers.
We're volunteers
basically.
at Cosmo.
But living on the property and helping to manifest this, a lot of artists and thousands, over 6,000 or 7,000 people around the world have individually contributed to making this come true. We've had a couple of Kickstarters. It's been, a lot of people pushing this rock, and it's nearly, as you can see, we're starting to install the art, and we still do not have our certificate of occupancy, and we have to do a water
emergency water system is our next thing up. We just got completely paved. We're fulfilling all the things that we have to fulfill to get a certificate of occupancy from our town of Wappinger, who wants the best for us. They want us to be we had to put up lights on our driveway. These are forcing us to be a better institution. And it's very important. So this is our symbol of Cosm. It's like through creative manifestation. Secret writing is about creative manifestation. You have higher vision.
I kind of see, it's so many things, but of course it's kind of the simple, for me, like the idea of the eye of God. So the eye of God basically is every eye, of everything that sees, of course, because God is everything and God is in everything. And so I love what Meister Eckhart said about the eye of God. He said, we can only see God by realizing that we're seeing through God's eye. So it includes everything, and then creative expression, this language of creative expression, just naturally emerges out of that. So it's the same kind of cosmic creative idea, that from this source of creation.
I just want to say, and we have about 10 minutes left, and I just wanted to say before we took a question or two, would be that, what just happened in time, in our East Coast time, is that Yom Kippur just began. It began at sundown tonight, and it's the highest holy day in my tradition. And people fast and they pray, and it's the one time of year when you ask for forgiveness and grant forgiveness and surrender to love. Really, you confess too. You confess wrongdoing. Anyway, these are the things that you do, and I just wanted you to all those people out there that might be Jewish or have an interest. have an easy fast. May you have the most beautiful new year, because it comes right after the new year. So this is the beginning of the new year. And Lashana Tova.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And I think that it's, you know, been such an intense time, you know, really for everyone. But we feel so grateful to have been and to continue our pandemic initiation at COSM, and to learn new skills of, you know, talking to computers and imagining that there's so many people that I'm sending love to right now. So I think that we're open for questions.
Is there tech people that are following us, or are we all on are we solo? I think we're solo. If we press the hide button, is anybody there?
I'm back. It's Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Hello. Thank you so much. That was such a beautiful sneak preview of Envion, and I can't wait to come and visit the campus again. Oh my God, that was exciting. So yes, we do have questions, and our first is from Darcy, and she's asking, do you still do performance art?
Well, as I was saying, this is performance art. This is social sculpture. It's like performance art, I feel, in its just most discrete form. We performed on stage, as I mentioned, in hundreds and hundreds of venues for, I guess, 15 years. And so we were performing on stage by doing lectures, talks, and live painting. And we create art installations here. And so we have all the space that we need to do multimedia events, which include a lot of other artists, you know, from contortionists and fire spinners to dancers, singers, and wisdom conveyors. And so, yes, I think that what we're doing now in our life is art. And so that's what we're doing, and everything is art.
I think that the performance for us, performance art, became a context that we had no definition for. For me, I think if I were in a traditional society, I would have been interested in shamanism, you know, and in altered states in that way. They would have a traditional context. But here, performance art became a context that included what could be ceremony or ritual, things that are associated with spiritual rites of passage and things like that. These were the kinds of things that, you know, I think inspired me about the context of performance. And like Alyson, I see the development of what we had been doing as this is simply the furthest extension of that. And although I don't think it's like we're performing, and we're trying to make it real.
Let me say what we're doing also. I forgot to mention this. COSM.TV. We have been producing programs every week for about the last 25 weeks. And they're all posted on COSM.TV, and you'll see Alex and I performing quite a bit in those. We're on a lot of them, and there's interviews, there's interesting, it's a full moon, new moon art church, equinox solstice kind of event with interspersed interviews and things like that. So come and join us at COSM.TV. You'll see more of us.
Oh yeah. Well,
Another question?
I have a follow-up to the performance art one. Do I remember right that you did a piece when you were pregnant?
Oh yes.
I did. Gold.
I did a piece when I was pregnant, and I did a piece when we had really recently had Zena. We did a piece where I nursed with Zena for the last time of her ever nursing in front of Lincoln Center. We were at Lincoln Center. We did the the goddess piece. Alex did 100 prostrations to the goddess while Zena and I, which was made out of apples. The goddess was a 40-foot goddess made of apples. And Zena and I sat in the heart center and nursed. And Alex did 100 prostrations at the foot of the goddess. So yeah, that was a piece we did at Lincoln Center when Zena was a tot and she was just giving up nursing. So, and I did this when I was pregnant too. It was called Soul Furnace. We burned all of the debris from our apartment in this soul furnace. It was another 40-foot stone giant. It was a stone giant fire performance with a pageant involved. But we do all that kind of stuff here. We put it all into Cosm. We make sculpture. We have fire spinning. We have all kinds of music, art, videos. We're like doing all kinds of stuff, animation, everything. So, but anyway, we put it into this this venue. Yeah.
So here's a question: what does trans-denomination mean? I guess that's with regard to the.
We struggle because we're a very unique kind of church. We honor all traditions, but we don't affiliate with any particular, we don't affiliate or deny the truth and betterment of, say, the United Universalist Church or something like this. We're not that. We're just an independent church, but we are trans-denominational, meaning we're beyond denomination. Spiritual.
I think it's we're looking for the spirituality at the root of all religion in some way, the kind of the mystical psychedelic truths that were maybe there when Socrates was tripping and envisioning the connection to the the great mystery and the visionary realm as well as the material realm. It always had that kind of interwoven connection. I think that weaving a philosophy into multiple ways of getting it out, like all the different arts and things like that, and now the different media that where we all are forced to be artists. If we're on Zoom, we're basically making pictures and performing. We may be just having a conversation with someone, but
I'd like to say something a little bit more about the core of our beliefs. And I just wanted to say that we do have posted, the core values of Cosm, the values, purpose, and beliefs of Cosm, and so that you can learn a little bit more about like what we stand for. We did start in 1996. We became a nonprofit organization, and in 2008 we became a church. It was a natural outgrowth. It was not something that we ever realized that we were even going for, but we began to do everything that churches do. And so therefore one of our donors wanted to support us in becoming legit as a church. And it's really been helpful to us in having a center because we're giving it all away. And so everything that we earn, we pour into it. And so it's a great way to, give away, material things and to the public.
But you create an unreasonable and beautiful thing that never could be there. We could never personally afford it. We didn't have the money and stuff like that.
No.
But by a kind of a group effort and by our all dedicating to one thing, it's been a great focus.
Because Alex is a tremendous attractor too. Let's just say that. And that is the work it embodies a lot of spiritual attractiveness, and other spiritual artists get to be involved and contribute their particular
I think there's
brand.
There's a lot of artists who basically have sort of gone to the other side, seen the light, or exited Plato's cave, as it were, of conventional reality, seen the sacred, beautiful inner light and brought it back onto canvas and stuff. And so this is a whole new wave. I think of it as a religious or a sacred art kind of explosion, you know, from the psychedelic artists who have basically gone inside and they're bringing something new back. It kind of puts new energy into spirituality that's, you know, maybe just not happened like this quite before, but it's a way to pull out your mystical experiences. Quite frequently, those are the most valuable things that have, you know, occurred within people's minds, in touch with the divine infinite reality. And so you put a little of that into your canvas, people see it, and it either inspires them to want to get to know God, or it reminds them, oh yeah, right, I remember that.
Well, a lot of us did have spiritual experiences around psychedelics, and a lot of people wanted to get together. And maybe they had one religion or another that they grew up with. Maybe they rejected it, and maybe they even embraced it, as I do. But they still wanted to get together with like-minded people, and that's what brought the community together. And if you want to start a community like that, start full moon ceremonies. That's my advice to you.
But have a sacred
You'll
purpose.
find the others. Well, the idea is to find the others and have a sacred purpose, like building a temple. That's a very good purpose. Have a space that you can leave to the next generation. It's a great purpose.
Creating a peace pyramid.
Exactly.
And
a peace pyramid.
And a program to serve.
Peace pyramid. Right?
Yes. We're in the process too. I'm going to ask you about that at the end. But here's a question from Mark. He asks, is there an overall energy tuning or frequency to the space for healing? And please explain.
Wow. I think that it's...
Talk about the crystals. We lay crystals. We have lots of shaman coming here to bless the place.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure what exactly he has in mind.
It's the location, for one thing, of Entheon.
That's true, yeah.
Is directly on a node that is connected with our Kabbalistic tree that we laid over the land, and it stands for justice. And it's like that wrote. And so the direct hit of that, no other architecture are directly on the Sephiroth. But it's kind of funny that one is. Entheon is. It is very much of a cube. There's a little cube, a vestibule in front of it. And so I'm not sure of all the significance there, but this has been kind of spirit oriented. We feel kind of like puppets of the cosmic puppeteer in some way, because so many miracles have happened that were completely unreasonable. And so the space, I'd just say, is, first of all, it has been blessed by the Tibetan Buddhist monks that came over early in the process.
And our Native American who comes here and does ceremony with us. We actually built a cairn to honor the Native people who lived here before. I mean, the Wappinger people lived here, and it was a sacred site. And our Native person in residence, he's a PhD, teaches Native American history at Vassar, and he's brilliant, and he knows what this, you know, all the Hudson Valley Native people, where they lived and things like that. So he comes over and does special presentations at our full moon sometimes, and he's blessed the place, as has Alex Stark, who is a geomancer, and he's a noted expert on
crystals have been buried in the foundation, in the concrete, as it was
every corner of every
drying, and of the foundations of Entheon, for sure. There is a despacho in the All One Gallery that was placed there by a group that's been studying for a long time. So there's many kind of blessing energies in the kind of woven into the space, and we see it as a kind of an unfolding of increasing kind of layers, body, mind, and spirit. It's a 3-story structure that will bring a person to the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors as their last thing that they see. So, and that is presenting this universal mind lattice that is the light suggestive of immortality that we like to speak of.
Right. That was a good question.
Yeah, I remember when I was there, you had overlaid a human figure, a human body, and you had identified the chakras. You had overlaid it on the map of the property.
The green goddess.
Yeah, so you were studying that, and I remember that. Well, we do a lot of the same things here. Whenever we build, we use crystals. We're doing prayers, and what was really exciting for us is when the Kogi came. The Kogi blessed the property. Our property abuts the New River, and those moments are precious. Getting that energy into the property. And I also wanted to say, when I was there, I remember all the beautiful art that some of the either interns had left on the property as projects, or I guess guest artists had done. That's immensely powerful too. I mean, people are coming and they're depositing their energy on your property in tangible ways that are just so meaningful.
Oh, we can't wait to have more sculpture. And we have been gifted sculpture by artists. Absolutely. We curate. Well, the Mushroom Cafe is a collaboration of about 22 muralists. We've had about 22 artists and residents that have muraled in the Mushroom Cafe, and we'll continue to mural. In Entheon, we're going to have the Visionary Vine. It'll be a 4-story, a descending mural of the Visionary Vine by other artists. So
that's awesome. So this question is coming from someone who knows Damanhur, and she says, "I love your Daman," and she knows that you published the coffee table book. So she's asking, are you going to do one for your community and your temple, since that book you did for Damanhur is gorgeous?
Well, we're working right now on publishing the Entheon version of the Cosmic Journal of Visionary Culture, which is our regular publication. And this one will be our first hardcover. It'll be a larger, I don't think it's as large as Alex's monographs, but it is an in-between size. We didn't want to go too big, but we didn't want to go too small either. Our Cosmic Journal of Visionary Culture, we had the first 10 were all the same size, and they were more, it started as a zine, and it got a little fatter and more real as we went along. But this, the new Entheon catalog, it's going to be, it will be the catalog of the show, which is the Visionary Art Show of the Visionary Art Tribe, but it'll also have, the galleries, images of all the galleries. It has a history of visionary art and a history of Cosm. And so that's basically what the Entheon volume will be. And yes, so that'll be a takeaway that everybody can have. And there'll be lots of other, the idea is to share the journey inspiringly with as many people as we can. And so we try to be as inspiring and productive in our outreach as we can possibly be.
We're a very small community compared to Damanhur, which is so large and has been going for so long. We're such fans and big admirers of their project, and had the good fortune to meet Falco.
We did.
And so it was a really wonderful project to study the magnificent community that they've woven there.
Yeah, it's great. I would definitely recommend visiting if you ever find yourself in Milan. It's not far at all. Turin is another place, and we may get to travel again. You never know. I don't even think about these things now, but it's not too far from Milan. It's between Milan and Turin. Yeah.
We have a question. How do you keep your art fluid and cutting edge? Do you think that changing up the mediums keeps things fresh?
I paint in 3 mediums, plus ink wash. I guess you could count that too. But I paint in, watercolors, acrylic, and oils. And then outside of that, I do social sculpture.
Yeah. Well, do you want to talk about your painting here, Alyson? You could just pull it.
Well, let's see. There's a piece I just finished. I mean, it really is practically still wet. And anyway, get it back to. Colors are amazing. It's an oil painting, very textural. And then you show yours, Alex. Just turn it around and show yours.
Interesting. Is that a scorpion?
We like to call him DM Turner, but it's really it's the Great Turn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here we are in America. Here's where we want to be.
yes.
Go back and show the whole piece.
We got a ways to go, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah. This one's called The Great Turn.
Well, let's get here. Any other questions?
So I'm saving my question till the end. So here's one. Do you have a routine or tradition that helps to bring inspiration to your creativity in a consistent way? Like, is there a practice that you guys do?
Oh, yes. Our life is filled with practice, isn't it, Alex? Our life is filled with routine and scheduling, too. I mean, we're very serious about our Cosm being a social sculpture. Every day we're scheduled for wonderful meetings with various committees to make things happen here. But other than that, we do yoga every day. We walk every day. I practice piano every day, and mostly what we try to do. I write every day. I have a writing. I always have writing assignments for everything, and we make art every day. I mean, every day we make art. We meditate every day too. So these are things, and listen, if you want more out of life, I just recommend create more structure. If you're really looking for a way to be more productive, add a little structure, and it ends up like, you get more done. You don't take a lot of breaks between things. But basically our life is just one practice right after another. I mean, today's Sunday, and breakfast is a practice, Anyway, we really believe in structured practices. I think that's part of why we get as much done as we can,
Yeah. I think that if for artists, one of the wonderful things is to write a prayer, like an artist's prayer, or if, no matter, I guess, what our activity is, something that doesn't have to be long, but just a thing that focuses your intention, for the day. And so, I sometimes think of this artist prayer that I have, but we also recommend that people write their own.
Right. Alex's artist prayer is published in Art Psalms, which happens to be a book we published that is the liturgy of Cosm. In order to become a church, they want to know if you have liturgy. So we have the Art Psalms.
Yeah, I know you guys had to jump through some hoops to get that church designation.
You do. It's really, if people want to know how that happens, you basically, I would say, hire a lawyer. So you got to get money to hire a lawyer to do it, and then you answer a lot of essay questions. You have to fill in the essays, and they come in waves. They keep wanting to ask you more essay questions. And what they really want to know is who benefits from the church. Who is getting benefit, and that's why our being volunteers, at least for now, has been really, really good. Because then nobody has any concern that we started this so that it's something. It does benefit us, but it benefits a lot of people. So, yeah.
So I would like to ask you a couple of questions I have. I know that Damanhur views their temples as not that that's not enough, but not just sacred space, not just an inspirational venue that creates an atmosphere for people to transcend everyday consciousness. They also view their temples as tools. And I'm curious to know whether you view Entheon and the other sacred space on the property as assisting in the paradigm shift above and beyond the inspirational aspect, above and beyond what we think a church is doing. Do you see your work as assisting and getting us to the next stage of consciousness collectively in a magical sense, in a divination sense?
Well, I feel like we wouldn't
Yeah.
be doing it unless that were the fundamental understanding of what a spiritual act is. You know, this is an act of love. This is this is an investment. We have thrown everything that we have and stuff we don't have, you know. So everything's at risk, as I think you probably know from living on that edge. And so we're trying to make a sacred statement. It's basically a statement, you know, like that the world is a sacred place, and that each of us is divine and sacred, and is a sacred mirror of this divine reality. And so the idea is to introduce all those things. To enter the space, it must be initiatory. The walkthrough may be subliminal, you know, in that way, or you can make it as, you know, deliberate as you wish. And we have the labyrinth on the floor of the Sacred Mirrors room is there for a purpose. You know, there are multiple kind of magic.
We have a labyrinth on the property too.
Yeah.
40-foot labyrinth.
Yeah.
On the property too for outdoor walking. So
we hope, like many, and look, I don't claim it, you know, like the spiritual side to say, you know, but I think I have a feeling like a lot of the people who are running centers, that we're all linked up, you know, not only just tonight, you know, in a very electronic and digital way, but in an intangible and astral and a etheric and, you know, multi-dimensional kind of way. There are spiritual allies that we share. There are you know, kind of communities that we share, and in that way, I think that it's the consciousness communities that will help, you know, and be a bit of the leavening in the current culture that can help to everyone to rise.
what other questions did you have, Linda, about your, you know, that you wondered about, Anthea, or about our project?
I think all the questions from the audience are gone through. So I was saving one question for the end that pertains to our sacred space. So we're building, as you know, the Peace Pentagon, and we also, just like you, chose this property for energetic reasons. We're on the New River, which is the oldest river in the Western Hemisphere, and we view ourselves as being in almost I call it the DMZ. I call it the zone in between the energies, if we think of the North and South as having slightly different energies. So we came down here to this place, and like you, we faced some obstacles. We had actually 2 lawsuits in order to proceed with this project. So I remember we were in communication back when you were having some difficulties too.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, the question is, after putting all of this energy and, as Alex just said, everything at risk for this spiritual and sacred statement, I'm curious, if you may not be able to answer this today, but in your meditations, I have a small request. I would be grateful isn't the word. There's a word way beyond grateful. If you guys get anything about what should go in our building in terms of art, we have some ideas. And when Shama was here from Damanhur, she also threw some just amazing ideas in the pot that have been percolating. So when it comes time, we know we want to mural the ceiling of the Pentagon, but I'm just curious if anything ever comes to you about the Peace Pentagon, if you would get back in touch with us, because we would love to hear.
We can talk more about that. I think that would be great.
Thank you. We will put it in our
prayers.
In our space.
Absolutely. I wanted to say, for those people who may be thinking about starting a church, and that you had struggles, you had lawsuits, we had a lawsuit too. We actually had to sue our town because they would. But the thing is that you have to go through hoops, which is we had to have our church status approved by the New York State Attorney General. And we had to have our church status approved by the IRS. And then we didn't realize this, but you have to then have your church status approved by your town. And in order to do that, they were against, well, their tax assessor was against that. There were a lot of people in the town that really loved what we were doing and were really on our side. But there were people in the government, of the local government, that wanted to, pull that we were not a church. So because we are not affiliated with the United Universalists or the Jews or the Christians or anything. So they were going to pull that. And so we went to the person who was our lawyer, who got us the church status, helped us with that. And we found out that we just needed to, sue them and that we would win. But it took a very long time because they have ways of making it slow down, and then you have to keep paying people. But it's really a matter of just, they can't tell you what you need to believe in order to be a church. You see, in this government, you can't be told that you can't be a church if you don't believe this way or that way. So we knew that if we kept going, we would probably prevail more than likely. And anyway, we did, and we got paid back all of the back real estate tax that we had to pay, so that it would help us build these buildings and sustain this place, which is it's labor intensive to keep it open and keep it alive. And you know how that is. And most people try to make an offering like this. It's like, you have to come up with some serious dinero. So we keep doing that, and we have some wonderful people here. You gotta say that it's like the people here. It's Alex and I do what we can, but there are people here that are just gold, and they just keep making it happen.
Team has been amazing, just as I'm sure you found, Laura, the team that's assembled there to help you do what you're doing, and the blessings that you've received are, you're working in Congress with a higher force.
And then the one thing I wanted to say about the artwork inside the Peace Pentagon too, just something that you probably have thought of many times because you're an incredibly brilliant spiritual person that Alex and I admire so greatly. But I wanted to say this: the perfect people are coming to me now. That's what you say to yourself. You keep saying the perfect people are coming to me now, because there are people in your area, people in your community, people who are artists who would really love to take that on as a project. And that's what you want to do. You want to make more people belong by including those who are talented, and just keep your eyes open. And then the perfect people come to you. I just have to say, they're there. They're all around you. You just have to find them. And I think you're better off to keep looking into your local area and among your community, even if they have to come. Well, the muralists that mural the Mushroom Cafe come from France,
far and wide,
far and wide, West Coast, everywhere, South America. They came up to do this. Peru, we have Montreal. There are people from all over. So you keep your eyes open.
And send us,
offer them something like a place to stay at a beautiful 2-week retreat, something like that. And people will, you'll find the right.
We know a lot of artists,
help you.
So yeah, and send us pictures of the space.
Thank you. I would love to do that. Just to give it some ideas. We actually have some really cool ideas, but I'll share them with you later.
Let's keep talking.
Yes. Thank you so much. This has been inspirational. It's been educational. It's been, for me personally, I'm going to say, it helps me just to keep going. I mean, to know that you guys are there, that Damanhurst's there, that there are these pockets of just visionary souls who totally get it, are totally committed. If a barrier rises up, you just figure out a way over, under, around it. And we feel the same way here. So
yes.
So good to be connected.
Isn't it? It's a wonderful life.
It is.
Filled with risk and danger.
Yes, and I feel good that we're doing this series of the Building the New World conference series, because I would feel powerless right now if we weren't doing something tangible like this. And I want to thank you. this conference is going to end just 2 days before the election. And I can't think of a better way for us to just pump out our vibration and our view of what's coming and what we're praying and hoping for. I just really want to thank you for helping us all feel like we're doing something meaningful, and we are. We absolutely are. So
thank you so much.
We affirm that for you and all who are watching.
Yeah, all who are watching. So we will see you on Wednesday, those who are watching, and we'll be at Sector 4, which is economics and business. And we have some cutting edge thought leaders who are just going to blow our socks off with what they're proposing we do with things like money and commerce and all sorts of really building the new world ideas. So we will see you Wednesday, and thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you.